Hey, this is your captain speaking. If this is your first episode with Yayo Talk Show, why? Just so you know, this is part 2 of a single episode. So make sure you go back and listen to part 1 before you start listening to part 2, but not before you listen to part 3. Just kidding. Don't do that. That was a joke. Please don't at me. Make sure you stay till the end. Kdin has some crazy theories you don't want to miss out on. So without further ado, here's today's episode.
Yo! Yayo Talk Show!
Dreamin'! Don't give it up, Molly.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Marco.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Kdin.
Dreamin'!
Al's name didn't fit. They talk about the show, this group of 4 friends been going for 1,000,000 years, there's no end. Watching every arc and saga, no sleep. It's the king of anime, 1,000 episodes deep.
Yayo Talk Show!
Talking about One Piece.
It's the name of the podcast.
We're not on Vine. Yayo Talk Show. Talking about
One Piece.
What's up, wenches, privateers, and non-binary buccaneers? Welcome aboard the most chaotic One Piece podcast of the Grand Line Internet. I have the crew. You guys can hear me. I got the crew with me. So first we got you guys can hear it. First, we have the wild theorist, Kdin Jensen.
I can't wait for this episode, Molly. I've been excited to hear you talk about this for a while.
Awesome. And we also have the Laughborg, Al McClellan Jr.
It's me! This is Molly's husband parade, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah! Welcome. And last but not least, we have the internet's gentleman, Mark B. Donica.
Yeah, you know it.
I'm the captain of the crew of pirates, Molly DCP.
Goddamn right you are.
That's
It's me.
absolutely freaking right.
I'm here. Squard tries to take the lead with another ship to get to Ace. Like he's trying to make up for his foolhardy choice earlier in the battle, and is kind of like with the mentality of, I'll sacrifice myself. I fucked up, I'll get these guys out of here to make up for what I did. And Whitebeard's like, no, my incredibly foolish son, incredibly foolish. Why would I ever ask you,
Stupid boy.
my stupid boy? Why would I ever ask you to? I would never ask an eye for my family. So he holds them back. He doesn't want Scar to die to make up for it. So Whitebeard hits Marineford with another quake, recollecting on his past with his crew. We get this quick like insight to Whitebeard of like when he was young, and his crew was asking him like what he wants if it's not treasure. And he's kind of like, he's reminiscing a little bit because he kind of knows like his numbers up. And he's like, yeah, I had a long journey, but I'm going to settle this with the Marines. This old guy's picking up on those old guys' vibes. And he's like, whoa.
Just old guy vibes.
Listen. Al, you don't know because you're still so young. But let me tell you. But yeah. So it's this moment where Whitebeard is like, cool, Ace is free. Get out of here. I'll hold them back basically so that you guys can get out of here. And as they're making their escape, Ace like is running by Whitebeard, and he kind of, and it's somebody again whose like whole character is like would never run away from a fight, right? Like that's Ace in a nutshell. But he acknowledges that the escape is necessary because he just watched all of his friends sacrifice themselves to get him free. So it's not worth staying. And, like, my brain is just like, just trying so hard to connect the dots. He wants to make sure that the sacrifice is not in vain, is what I wanted to say. But before he does, he bows to Whitebeard in like the midst of everybody trying to get out of there. And Whitebeard's like, hey, was I a good dad? And Ace was like, of course you were a good dad. And then Whitebeard is just like, la, 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 la. Like he's like, great. He was a good dad. Anyway, Akainu's there and he's an asshole. And he mocks Whitebeard's crew as cowards for grabbing Ace and running, and claims that Whitebeard is nothing but a failure from a bygone era. And I don't. Can you believe that this would strike a chord with Ace? Because
No,
talk
that
about.
sounds ridiculous. That sounds out of character.
God, my nose is already running.
Oh no.
He immediately turns to face and demands that Akainu take that back. And literally everyone is like, Ace, don't stop. Like we're getting out of here. Like right now. What are you doing? Akainu like keeps talking crap. He's like he's making these like outlandish claims that Whitebeard, since he never defeated Roger nor became the Pirate King, he was a failure, which is complete garbage. That's all relative, you know. Everybody keeps telling Ace not to get provoked, but he just keeps just laying into Ace basically, and Ace's temper is hot as heck.
I get it.
He's a hot boy.
It's made of fire.
I got it.
Okay,
I get it.
great.
Good job.
Okay. Funny. We're
Molly,
having
that was a great joke. Thank you.
thanks. We're having fun. We're laughing and having a good time. But yeah, so and ultimately Ace gets pissed off and attacks Akainu, saying that the name of this era is called Whitebeard. However, he's badly burned on his left hand and knocked back because fire and magma is not the same. I hate to break it to you guys, but that's just because they're both hot don't mean that they cancel each other out, you know?
Let me update my spreadsheet real quick.
Please do.
Thank you.
Please strike from the record that.
Strike from the record, 1 devil fruit user.
Thank you. But yeah, even though he and Ace both use Lugia fire types, basically magma can burn anything, even fire. So then that's not going well. Luffy attempts to rush back to Ace's aid, but can you believe those hormones are wearing off? So can you believe? I can't. Dude's had a long day. He like falls to his knees and he drops Ace's Viva card. And he's just like, oh, I gotta pick this up. I dropped this. And in this like terrifying moment, even though they saved Ace, his card is still burning. This is such a good God. Oda did such a good job of telling this story metaphorically or with visual cues. You know, he's showing it, not saying it. But yeah, Luffy's at his limit. In that moment, even though Ace is in front of Akainu, his attention is drawn to Luffy, so he turns away from Ace to attack him instead. And Ace is like, "Uh-oh, my brother!" And he jumps in front of Luffy to take the blow, even though we just established that magma can also burn fire. So he basically like blows a hole through his chest, like his entire torso.
There is actually some science behind that too, not in that fire can be burned, but that magma is hotter than fire is. Like red fire is around 1,000 to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, and magma is usually like 1,200 to 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's definitely a hotter thing.
Dang. I don't know if I knew that, but that checks out. That checks out.
That checks
Yeah.
out. Can confirm.
Okay, great. Scientists in chat, can you guys confirm?
I googled it. That wasn't something off the top of my dome. So.
We're gonna have to
anything to keep us from crying in this moment. Technically.
Why are we crying? What's happening?
What do you mean? What's happening? What do you mean? I'm a widow. My first husband. God, man.
Drop some F's in the chat. I want to see
No.
when we post this episode, all I want the replies on Twitter
F.
to be is just F. That's
Oh
all
my
I
God.
want. That's
For
all I'm
fire.
asking.
Is that the name of this episode?
F.
F's in chat?
F's for Fire Fist.
F for Fire Fist.
No, that's 2 F's. Can I get 3 F's? F in chat for RIP, and then can I get 2 F's for Fire Fist?
Everybody, yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah,
Every reply on Twitter, I want every person who listens to this to reply to the tweet of this episode and just one letter, the letter F. That's all I want.
yeah,
That's all I want. I don't
great.
ask for much.
Oh man, so yeah, Ace has this ugly ass man's fist through his chest. This absolute bitch. And in this like terrifying moment, Marco realizes that Mr. 3 can get those sea cuffs off, and so he drags him over to get free. And at the same moment, Sengoku and other Marines are holding Garp back because Garp is like ready to kill Akainu for basically like either like mortally wounding Ace or killing Ace basically. And so he's like, you got to hold me down or I'm going to fucking kill him myself. So the Whitebeard pirates keep Akainu back from attacking Luffy, and Luffy catches Ace. And it's this like final goodbye moment where like Luffy is barely processing what's happening. And Ace immediately knows his organs have melted inside of him. And even in a world where people can become fire and spit hot lava and can have earthquake powers, there's nobody around to like instantly heal him in that moment. So it's kind of game over, man. And we get these scenes of Ace remembering their childhood. He mentions somebody named Sabo, and says, you know, if whatever happened with Sabo and Luffy, I wouldn't have wanted to live, but you guys made me live. And he makes a point to say like his only regret is that he'll never get to see Luffy's dream come true, but he knows it will. And aside from that regret, he has no regrets. And he says, I mean, his lungs must have been punctured. It's his whole chest that got burned away, but he's basically like, tell everybody, like people who can't hear me, make sure that you tell them. But he says, old man, everyone, and you, Luffy, even though I'm so worthless, even though I carry the blood of a demon, thank you for loving me.
All right, now I'm losing it.
Like that's all he wanted. He was just like, I don't know if I knew what life was about, but you guys loved me, and that was enough.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
It's a beautiful sentiment, you know? Like you don't think that there are so few times when a shonen decides to kill off a main character, for lack of a better term. And to build so much of Luffy is because of the life that he's lived, and this is just the beginning of us finding out what that life was like. And it's like all of the found family tropes, but like this is where it all started for Luffy, and this was one of his main reasons for going out to sea. And like Kdin said in her predictions, they're gonna have to hit a wall sometime, and this is a pretty big wall.
This is like Luffy is not really lost before, like aside from Shibodi, like, and that was more of like a temporary reprieve because they all, you know, they got away.
This is basically what I was like, I kept kind of like mulling this around in my head. Luffy never really experienced this big like major loss. He's always been just kind of like okay with everything. Even like Shanks is still around, and you know, he had Ace and he had Garp, and it's like he had the people he knew, and he knew that they were still out there and doing things. So it never really affected him in a way of like, oh, they're not here right now, but they're still out there doing whatever they're doing. Just like I'm doing stuff and I'm doing whatever I'm doing and everything's fine. But, and it's much more impactful that Luffy was there for this. And like the moment they're just like, oh, Ace is, you know, in the hands of blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, well, that's it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he's obviously not going to make it out of this. There's no way. Because if they take out this big motivation factor for Luffy, at some point people are just going to get disinterested in One Piece. Like I know it sounds silly, but there needs to be a fire lit under there needs to be a fire lit underneath Luffy in a literal sense and a metaphorical sense, because at this point he's been kind of just lazily drifting towards becoming the Pirate King. Yeah, he's been making an effort and everything like that, but he hasn't had anything other than his own ambition driving him, and he needed something else. And the moment that, like, the whole thing with Ace of, like, oh, possibly kidnapped by the world government and taken to the worst place in the world, he's not getting out. There's no way. Like, the whole moment, like, the whole time, like, oh, Luffy's going into Impel Down, I'm thinking in my head, it's like, well, this is pointless. Like, I know for a fact there's no way Luffy's going to get there and Ace is going to be still there. And he's just, like, they're not going to see each other at all until the last moments. And that's ultimately the best decision to make, narratively speaking, because the last time, as far as the anime is concerned, the last time that Luffy met up with Ace was Alabasta, and they had, like, a little bit of, like, they were having fun. And it's like, and Ace is like, hey, gotta go do something. Nice catching up with you. We gotta do this again sometime. And the next time they get to do it again, Ace dies.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, it's like the amount of time they actually, like, spent together, whether it be a lot of time or not, which ultimately we'll find out is not actually a significant amount of time. Like, they didn't spend a tremendous amount of time together, but they bonded enough to be considered brothers for each other. And this is the only character that you could have killed that made sense to actually give Luffy motivation. Otherwise, it just is like, well, I mean, like, oh, we gonna kill Garp? Luffy's gonna be like, oh no, my grandpa, this is really terrible, but also, like,
Oh
he was
no,
Wolverine anyway.
one
Like,
less cop in the world.
it's, I mean, he'd be upset and he'd probably beat the shit out of the dude who did it, but
Yeah.
at the
Well,
same time, Ace is the motivator. Ace is the key player.
We'll talk about it in a future episode, but we also, like, get some insight into the childhood, and, like, Garp was not there every day for Luffy. Like, Ace was, It's like dude would just show up when he had, like, a free weekend, and it's like it's not the same. They're not on the same familial bonded level as, two brothers. But yeah. Uh and
And
I will
also,
say, go ahead.
rescuing Ace, like, was the top of his mind for how long? Like, when did he find out that Ace was captured and all this was gonna happen? It was like 2-3 arcs ago.
He was with his crew when the first announcement happened in the newspaper, but they're like, Luffy, like, do you wanna go help your brother? And he was like, nah, if I go help him out, he's gonna be pissed. Like, he has his own adventures, I have mine, it'll be fine. And then when he's on Amazon Lily, does he realize, like, oh, he needs help. Like, I need to go help my brother. So, like, pre-Shibodi, I think, and then
I mean, he knew something was wrong with Ace at Thriller Bark. And he's just like, this, I mean, there's still a lot of paper. It's a lot smaller. And then as, like, he keeps checking on it, and we do get glimpses of it as, after Thriller Bark, and we keep seeing it. It's like, that is smaller. That is way smaller. Why is this so damn small? Why is this smaller? And, by the time, like, he's confronted with the full-on information at in Amazon Lily, it's just like, there's almost no paper. It's just like, it's a tiny little piece of corner. It's like, and
yeah,
that's when it's like, that's when it really hits him, because he doesn't think too much. It's like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. That's what he's saying the entire time. It's like, it's just, he's in a bad thing right now. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
Well, when he gets to Amazon Lily, though, I can't remember her name, but the elder is the one that points out, like, that's bad. That means that, like, whoever's card that is, their life is in danger, or,
Nyon?
Yeah. She was just straight up like, that's not good. And Luffy's like, it's not good? Uh-oh, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. It's crazy too. The entire time you were watching this arc, Kdin, you kept saying, dude's gonna die. And I remember reading this chapter by chapter as it was coming out, and I honestly did not see Ace dying. I was blown away that Ace died. Like I was like, just because again, it's like every chapter has a cliffhanger. In the middle of these chapters, it's like back and forth. Like, and we'd been doing this for how many chapters? This back and forth during this war, and I genuinely thought that he was going to get away, like it was going to be okay, but it still would have been a huge impact to the story with Whitebeard dying, because again, it's like a new era. The old era dying, the new era starting.
With also, it's right after Shibodi, so it's like, man, Luffy really deserves a win.
Yeah,
and that's all the more reason to beat the hell out of him. Like it's talking from I need to say this from like the writer's perspective. From the writer's perspective, a loss doesn't mean you've made your character hit bottom. Even making the worst possible thing happen doesn't mean that they've hit rock bottom. And that's why the double whammy here is so good. And narratively, why I like these moments so much in anime, in cartoons in general, in books, in everything. It's we're going to do the one thing that you think as the audience is the worst thing that we could do to the main character. And in that case, it was, we're going to remove Luffy's crew from him. We're going to send them all over the world, and they're going to be so far away, and they're going to remove his, we're going to remove his family from his vicinity, and that's it. He's going to be on his own again. The whole point of, early era One Piece was Luffy wants a crew. He wants this crew, and he finally got his crew together. And then he's alone. And it's like, okay, well, how do we make him, it's like now, as a reader, you're just like, well, something good has to happen. And you see some good stuff happen. He makes new friends. He goes on new journeys. He becomes more powerful. He unlocks and starts learning about hockey and so on and so forth. It's like, oh, he's getting more powerful. He's learning more about stuff. So he's going to, this is going to be his rise. This is going to be his big moment. And that's why narratively, you're building the audience to expect one thing, but you're dropping hints otherwise. There are more than enough hints leading up to this moment that basically make, Ace's body entirely made out of red flags. He's just holding up the death flags and being just like, hit me really hard and then kill me immediately. And when we get to that point, just like, because Molly, you read this when you were younger, right?
Yeah, this was 2008, so baby 18-year-old Molly.
So you had that optimistic, like, hope arc in your mind. It's like, they're going to get out, Ace might be really hurt or something bad might happen, but they're going to get him out. And you had that optimistic, like, upswing in your mind. Meanwhile, there's this counterpoint going at the exact same time. So while you're being optimistic, the writing is trying to give you notes to be like, hey, pay attention here, because we're giving you some flags.
Yeah.
And then right at this moment, you have that Ace death. So you were so optimistic because the worst possible thing that could have ever happened to Luffy already did. You're not going to hurt him again. And then the absolute worst possible thing that could really ever happen to Luffy actually happens. And he is essentially by himself. No crew, and he lost Ace. And that is the worst thing that you could possibly do to Luffy, is make him fully feel completely alone and lost and powerless. And that's the worst that you could do to him. And that is the best thing to do right before we get to this next, like, whole part. Because Luffy is essentially out of the game at this point. That's it. Luffy is just like, as much as Luffy wants to do something, Luffy's done. Like, he is completely inconsolable, irrational, and as much as he's, quote unquote stupid, he's not dumb. He knows how to fight, but now all of that is gone. He's not thinking at all. So now it's just irrational everything.
It's so crazy too, because like at that age, in terms of like media I was consuming, like the good guy always wins in the end was still like pretty like that was, it's like watching these shows and it's like, yeah, it looks bad, but we all know they're gonna win in the end. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of narrative was still pretty like old hat. And I was like, and even like when they free Ace, I was like, thank God, like they did it. Like, haha, you really had me going there, Oda. Like, haha. But like, they were always gonna get it. Like Luffy doesn't lose, right? Like I've just spent like 500 chapters reading about how Luffy doesn't lose. Like bro's gonna get there, gonna do it in the end. And yeah, 18-year-old, 2008, bad year. Had a lot of stuff going on that year. Didn't really think my husband was also gonna die. But yeah, so in this great moment we see Ace's Viva card finally burns away entirely, and Luffy remembers this moment from when they were a kid, and he apparently at some point thought Ace was dead, and Ace was reprimanding him for thinking that, and he remembers very specifically Ace promising not to die and wouldn't leave his like weak little younger brother all alone. And Luffy just goes completely mindless with grief. His body's already shutting down because he overdid it, and now it's just like he's just in shock. Like his brother's dead for sure. Which is just like, whereas like the worst thing ever to happen to Luffy is happening like at the end of it all. Ace was like, you know what? Had a good run. I had a lot of people who loved me, and so he dies with a smile on his face, and Luffy goes mindless with grief. So Whitebeard gives Luffy and Jinbei time to get away. He starts taking on Akainu. He like punches that guy to the ground. And he retaliates by burning off part of his head. And Whitebeard's totally unfazed and slams him again, like with an earthquake that demolishes the Marine headquarters. Like what? Big dick energy, man. Big dad energy while we're at it. Like his son is dead. He gets half of his head burned off and shrugs it off because he's pissed. And then, like, it couldn't get any worse. You guys, it couldn't get any worse. My husband is dead. Whitebeard shows up. Like, this guy. This is the last guy.
Wait. Blackbeard.
Like the last guy I want to see right now, okay? I hate this guy. This guy's got rancid vibes. I don't like this guy. This guy, don't like him. But he shows up and he has this whole like parade about how he was like, ooh hoo hoo hoo. Did you think I was on your side, Marines? Ooh, did you think I was gonna help you guys? Ooh hoo hoo hoo. Just kidding. I used my warlord title to break out baddies from jail. Because I want to be rolling up with the nastiest crew possible. And you know where the nasties all be? In jail? Not anymore. They're part of my crew. I hate this. I hate Blackbeard so much, dude. I just hate him so much. So yeah, it's like, I just don't care about. It's just like, why are you here? We're in the middle of like in front of my salad. Like you're just gonna show up right now. And so it's nice that we finally get more insight and dialogue between Whitebeard and Blackbeard, because this whole thing started because of Blackbeard. So Whitebeard gets a moment to finally say like, you're no son of mine. Which is probably like the ultimate insult for Whitebeard when you think about it.
From a guy who bases his entire life on collecting sons. You are all my sons, not you.
You have been disinherited. You're no son of mine. But yeah, so Whitebeard tries to use his devil power, but it doesn't work. And then he's like, haha, you thought you could just do that? Like, he's like, you have no power over me anymore, dad. Like, I'm the dad now. And then Whitebeard like is like, huh, that's weird. And then just like hits him with his weapon instead. And guess what? It was effective. It was like,
yeah, we learned that like when that like haha, it didn't hurt me thing happened. The first thing I thought of was like, didn't Blackbeard mention that like he's like one of the very few types, like Ace was, where it's just like, oh, it's like, well, Ace can't be hurt because he's also fire, and it's like, well, yeah, but Blackbeard's just like, well, my fruit doesn't work that way. I actually get hit and it hurts a lot. So it's just like,
yeah.
We had that explanation.
It's a weird balancing thing of like, he has all of this thing that everything that he can do, he can do it from a distance. He just is not good in a close-up fight, which is sort of like we got a preview in Impel Down of Luffy just just giving him a good clean clock straight in the stomach. Of like, oh, when Luffy finally goes all out on this guy, it's gonna hurt real bad.
Yeah. I just love that though, where he was like, "Ha ha, the strongest man in the world," and I took a punch without blinking, and then and he's like in the middle of bragging, and Whitebeard just like gets out his like weapon and whacks him with it. He's like, "Ah, ow!"
This old man beats child with cane.
It's like, if anybody has ever seen The Spoils of Babylon, has anybody in here seen Spoils of Babylon? We can cut this bit if anybody has not seen it. Has anybody seen it?
No.
God dang it. There's this great moment with Tobey Maguire and Tim Robin where he's an old man in a wheelchair and Tobey Maguire's like, "I'm in love with your daughter." And like he had adopted him. So it's like, quote unquote, you can't have relations even though you're adopted, your brother and sister. And Tim Robbins just goes, "I forbid it. I forbid it. That's what I forbid it means." And then he starts whacking him with like a cane. And that's kind of what is happening in the scene. He's beating him up. He's like, "Ah, ow, ow, ah, dad." Anyway, that happened. We can cut that bit.
Leave it in.
Okay.
Great. But then we have this moment where Whitebeard suddenly starts remembering when Roger told him about his own death and the true meaning of D. And after the Blackbeards run out of bullets.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's like this moment. What? No, I told you the real meaning of D a couple episodes ago. I told you. Mark didn't believe me, but I told it.
What's that?
But yeah, so it's this moment of after he like whacks Blackbeard and Blackbeard's like, "Ow, you wouldn't hit a guy who was your son." And then Whitebeard like hit him harder the second time.
I have no son. I have no son except for all of them, but not you.
Except for the thousands of sons standing behind me.
It's this moment when like Blackbeard realizes like, "Oh crap, I can't play the son card here," and he tells his new crew to like, "Get 'em, boys." And it's like as Whitebeard's taking all of these hits, he's remembering Roger. And when they finally run out of bullets, Whitebeard tells Blackbeard that he's not the one that Roger's waiting for, which is like super cryptic. I don't know what that means. That's crazy. He also tells Sengoku that the bloodline of those who carry the will of Roger still burn. And, there's going to be one day that a grand battle will engulf the whole world, and he goes on to say that someone finds that treasure, I'll never tell. The world will be turned upside down before finishing his speech by shouting to the world that One Piece exists, much to Sengoku's fury. Also, they're being recorded, so everybody across the world heard that.
All of China knows you're here.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That was. Yeah. And it's like it's literally verbatim the same thing that happened with Roger. And Sengoku's like, "Dang it, Bobby! This was supposed to be the opposite of that. We were supposed to show the world our strength." And
so it's supposed to be a reverse Roger.
Yeah. Exactly. And they're like, "I can't believe. Can you believe the same thing happened
Reverse
twice?"
Roger, right.
I cannot believe. But yeah. So Whitebeard thinks back to that moment again when his old crew was like, "Hey man, what do you value if you don't value treasure?" Haha. And we see that what he said when he was young was that he wants family, not treasure. And then the people, whoever he was talking to, was like, "What? Like, that's weird." But he was like, he's like, he got what he wanted in the end, basically. It's like this moment of like, he got his own crew and he stuck to his morals, what morals meant to him. And that meant family, Dom. It's all about family, all right? Whitebeard dies standing on his feet after being stabbed and slashed 267 times, shot 152 times, and was hit by 46 cannonballs. And despite his grievous wounds,
God.
That's a lot of balls.
That's BDE. That's BDE, baby. Despite his grievous wounds, when his coat falls down after his death, it reveals that his back has been untarnished by a wound of retreat. So he's dead with honor intact.
So good.
A goddamn legend.
Look, Molly, if I could take one of your lines,
Mhm.
what a man.
What a man. That's all man, baby. Where's the beef?
Points at man. There it is.
I don't know,
Here's
man.
the beef.
Incredible.
I don't know. Mark took one of my lines. I had to come up with a new one.
You had to take one of mine.
Yeah, that's why I had to take one of yours.
Steal something from 1985 Wendy's.
Where's the beef? Oh man. Oh man.
God.
So this is a moment in the arc I do want to bring up because I have watched, it's been a while. I have seen this arc in the anime, but I know it better from the manga. And I thought it was very interesting that the Wikipedia phrased this in a certain way. In the manga, at this point, after Whitebeard has died, the Blackbeard pirates won't let anybody approach, and Blackbeard throws a blanket over him and Whitebeard, and we don't see what he does. But when the blanket is gone, it seems like Whitebeard had not been touched, but suddenly Blackbeard has his ability. In the wiki, it seemed to phrase that like they don't show that in the anime, and that Blackbeard just happens to have Whitebeard's power now. Kdin, what did they do in the? Did they show that in the anime with the blanket?
Oh, they 100% showed that. Like,
Oh,
basically,
weird. Okay.
they did this whole thing where it's just like, we're gonna throw a tarp over Blackbeard.
Yeah.
And there's part of this that, and again, a lot of me watching One Piece is watching from a writer's perspective. And it really feels like Oda's just like, I want Blackbeard to have 2 devil fruit powers.
Gee, Blackbeard, how come you get 2 devil fruit powers?
I gotta figure it out still.
But yeah, and Oda's just like, I don't know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of answer the question of, even I don't really know how this works, I'm literally going to throw a blanket over it.
I'll never tell.
And not address it right now and figure it out later. I do know I want it to happen, but I want it to happen here, and I don't know how it works yet. So I'll figure that out later and give myself an out and make it very mysterious and make people theorize about it. And it's a way to like satisfy his need as a creator to make the plot point happen without giving too much information away when he doesn't even know fully the information, because then you have to go back and be like, well, that didn't actually happen. It was actually this.
There's something like, there's a lot of lore and science about devil fruit that we don't know in like the present day. And I think it's going to be one big reveal in the sense of like, all right, here's how devil fruits work, which will then plug into what Blackbeard did. Because I think the reason why Blackbeard wanted the Yami Yami no Mi was, one of the first things we hear about devil fruits is that a person can't have 2 because the demons fight each other and kill each other, and it then kills the person that ate it. And because because Blackbeard ate the darkness fruit and he is essentially made of void, to me, my headcanon has been the devils can't find each other to kill each other, so they're lost forever, but the user gets to maintain both powers still.
They know they're supposed to be at the Denny's parking lot, but it's foggy.
They're at a different Denny's. Like
each one, 2 different Denny's. Yeah,
2 different Denny's, 2 different like planes of universe inside of the void.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I believe I talked about this a little bit. I talked about my thought process on this just a smidge. It's that if you have the same type and you eat another one, that's it. So like if he ate Ace's fruit, then that would have been over. It's over. Sorry, you die. The devils kill each other, blah, blah, blah. But with the different actual types of devil fruit, everybody heard the like, if you eat 2 of these, you die. But nobody actually decided to like, well, let's test that theory because, you know, if you eat 2 of them, you die. That's scary. But the concept of, well, it's probably 2 of the same type. And if you had 1 of each, then that'd be fine because they're technically not the exact same thing. It's a different devil. So they're not going to like be at odds with each other. They'd be more like harmonious. It's like, oh look, it's just like different echelons of the fruit work differently and have different properties and different rules.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have, it's like, oh, I ate the water fruit and the fire fruit. Explosion, you die.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's like, oh, look, a quake fruit and a darkness fruit, they don't really have any, like, negative opposites here. It just
I like that theory, but I think if that was the way that it worked, the military would already be utilizing it and weaponizing it.
I will once again say, do you really think that the world government is that smart?
Well, the lead scientist, like Vegapunk, working for them. Like, he's probably in it for, like, I'm doing it for the benefit of science, but they're like, yeah, but can we make it a weapon?
I am still going to say, sounds suspicious. I think the answer is far more simple, because it just, I don't know, it feels like I'll save it. I have theories. I'll save it. I'll save
Okay.
it
Okay.
because I'm gonna tangent in a minute.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's just it's funny, right? It's like people come at this whole situation with hard facts, but then when you ask, like, okay, but how do you know if you eat 2 devil fruit, something bad will happen? And they're like, I heard it from this guy once. Like, everybody knows that. That's just common fact. I read it online, so it must be true. But it's like,
how do you explain all the memes?
yeah, it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like people say that with such cadence that it's like, okay, so that must come from somewhere. Like that,
I didn't say that though.
Get it?
I am so close to finishing this episode. You're gonna come at me with that? Oh man. So anyway, Blackbeard steals Whitebeard's power. He tries to like fully utilize it to show off, like it's like, it's my era, blah blah blah. But again, we see Sengoku's devil fruit and he just slaps him around. He's like, no, you're not. No. Not this, not ever. No. So while that's going on, Akainu is like chasing down Jinbei and Luffy. He's like determined. He's like, I got one, I'm gonna get the other one. Like, this guy is just the worst. I also really have to point out that the enemy of this arc has always been Akainu. Akainu has like, he's the reason Whitebeard got stabbed. Like, he's just constantly the thorn in our side this entire arc, and I think it's so important that like it's not Sengoku, it's Akainu. It's not the Marines, it's Akainu. Like, there's gonna be a reckoning. There's gonna be a day of reckoning with this guy probably at some point. But it's like, for somebody that we didn't really know, we know the other 2 admirals a lot more previously than we do about Akainu. This guy, it's like, it's all about him. It's like, it's this guy making awful decisions, like, and you really see how just morally like corrupt this guy is, like, and it's all for the good of the people or whatever, and the good of the people being the world government. That doesn't necessarily mean like actual people, as he uses his own like his own coworkers as fodder basically. But yeah, so Akainu is chasing down Luffy and Jinbei. To get to Luffy, bro punches through Jinbei and it hits Luffy. Like, it went through Jinbei, and it ended up giving Luffy this X scar on his chest. And bro got punched like through him like Ace, and Jinbei is apologizing to Luffy because Luffy is like out of his mind, but he's still screaming about being burned. And like Jinbei's like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, bro, you just took a hit for. It's like, you don't have to.
My B dog.
You don't have to apologize, man. Like, you're doing your best. So then while that's going on, Crocodile again comes in and defends them. While this is going on, so we've got Sengoku versus Blackbeard. We've got Akainu versus Crocodile. He's trying to get to Jinbei and Luffy. The everyone's favorite hottie shows up. We talking about Law. Law just shows up like, hey, what's up? Sorry I'm late. I got Starbucks. What did I miss? Because we find out his his which he does, that was like him he's trying to play it cool, but like we know that him and the rest of the worst generation have been watching on the big screen in Djibouti, and at some point Law decides to leave and shows up. Apparently he's like, yo, I saw there was a fight at today's parking lot, I'm here, what's up? And we see that his ship is actually a submarine, so he's able to get in really close undetected. And he starts telling Buggy what to do. He's like, yo, clown, go get Luffy. And Buggy's like, I'm sorry, who are you? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And that's all going on. And so while that's going on, Kobe is just having a mental breakdown. Like, Kobe's crying. Somebody made Kobe cry. Somebody's gonna get grounded
Again.
I know. It's not a good look. Kobe's crying, and we get this really weird thing. He just says something really weird here. He says, Kobe's crying. Helmeppo asks why he's sad. Kobe simply answers that a voice in his head has disappeared. He notices how the Marines are continuing to attack even after completing their original goal of executing Ace. While he's thinking this, a nearby Marine is injured. Another Marine goes to help him, only to be rejected by Akainu, saying that they don't have time to treat the injured, much to the viewed shock of Tashigi and Smoker. So Kobe's like, are we the bad guys? Like, this is like really the moment when Kobe's like, are we the baddies? And so Kobe's like, everybody please stop. Like, please stop fighting. Like, why are we still fighting? Ace is gone. Like, just let him go. Like, we did what we came out to do. And Akainu's like, I'm sorry, intern. Can you say that again? What are you saying? Because that's not what the Marine, I'm sorry. Did you not know what you signed up for? We're the baddies. Did you not know that? And so while that's going on, Bucky, I don't know why he did it, but he was like, okay, I guess I'll do what this kid says. He grabs Jinbei and Luffy and throws them onto Law's submarine. And then we go back to Akainu, who's about to strike Kobe, which is just like, God, what a jerk. Kobe's crying. You can't double down on that crap. This guy's evil. If you didn't know, spoiler alert, this guy is evil and an asshole, and I don't like him.
It's bad moves, this guy.
Before he gets hit, everybody's favorite hottie shows up. Who's everybody's favorite hottie? That's right, Shanks. Hello?
I'm so happy.
Hello? God, is anybody? Hello? Is it just me? Is this thing on?
Who else would it be?
Molly, you have a lot of favorite hotties in this.
I'm gonna be real. Who the hell else is gonna show up? Like, it's like, this is Smash Brothers. Everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
Of the known people, it's like, it's not gonna be Luffy's crew. It's like, it's gotta be Shanks. I'm just like, oh, Shanks is gonna show up, and then Shanks shows up. I'm like, there he is.
Yeah.
I know it's
no
supposed to be
Waluigi though.
I'm gonna be real. Like, a lot of the dramatic reveals in this, like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It wasn't just like, it's like Shanks shows up. It's like, I'm here, and I'm just like, yeah, I was expecting you to show up at some point.
Kdin.
maybe it's the perspective of somebody watching in 2021 for the first time. It's like, yeah, no,
2021 and binging, being able to watch episode after episode.
It's true. It's like, there's a lot of like, yeah, I mean, logically, like, who else is going to show up? They're not going to introduce a new character at the end of this, and they're sure as shit not going to bring back all of like Luffy's crew for this. It's got to be Arius.
I can tell all of you were looking away when I was saying that, because I cannot believe that none of the three of you said Foxy. I cannot believe.
No. We got to let you have one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was looking
Just
at the
the
call,
one,
waiting
though.
for somebody to pop in, and then you're like, please, somebody say something.
Please,
Somebody say Foxy. I miss Foxy. says Molly.
No, I did not say that. I'd strike that from the record. I did
I'm
not.
pretty sure that's exactly what you said.
No.
Play the tape back.
No.
Mark, please go back and
Do
play the tape again.
not censor. Do not. How dare you?
The name of this episode is going to be that soundbite of Molly asking for somebody to say something.
Please. Everyone's favorite hottie. Hello. God. So yeah, everyone's
Robin?
favorite daddy. Daddy. Shanks shows up. And he it's this weird moment. I don't know if anybody else felt the same way, but the very first time we see Shanks, it's like the very first chapter of One Piece, and dude is already impressive, right? Like he kind of gives Luffy this moral code. He's this mentor that Luffy looks up to. You know, he puts this idea in Luffy's head. And I know he's larger than life, but he was like at least like the 5 foot range, maybe 6 feet, but he was still like a human. We see him, and this guy is like towering over everybody. This guy got large. He's just so much taller than Kobe. And it's like,
His neck is maybe 5 necks wide.
oh man, on top of like him being tall, he's also got wide neck.
I'm
And
gonna
it's
be
just
real. Most of the people you like in One Piece, Molly, have wide neck.
yeah, they do. I got a type. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's crazy because we just saw him hanging out with Whitebeard, and I know Whitebeard's like humongous, like he is larger than life.
Huge.
Beak.
But seeing like Shanks next to normal people, you would assume he was like a little closer to their height. Like again, maybe the 6 foot range, but like dude is like towering over Kobe in this shot. I was like blown away. And I feel like that might have been a call because we are realizing how impressive the 4 emperors are at this point. Like Shanks is like we love and know Shanks. We know Shanks from the very first chapter of One Piece, but like he got the receipts now. You know, he's on par with Whitebeard, whom we just saw the crap that Whitebeard just pulled. Like he's on par with 2 other emperors. Like that's crazy. And so I was just always surprised that like they made him so tall in this scene. But yeah, so before Akainu can strike Kobe, Shanks interferes, like probably saving his life because he wasn't just punching Kobe, he was like magma punching Kobe. So yeah, Shanks tells Kobe that his few seconds of courage, which he was willing to throw away his life for, have changed the fate of the world, which Kobe's already passed out at this point, so he doesn't hear any of that. He's like foaming at the mouth because Shanks is so hot, people faint around him. That's verbatim. Don't look that up. That's
the
true.
reason.
Yeah.
That is 100% the reason.
That's what I took away from that. Don't look that up. Just take my word for it.
Okay.
Okay, great. So while that's happening, Law takes this opportunity to get away, even though Kizaru is like attacking them. But Ben Beckman. Oh man, I love Ben. Ben and Shanks are my favorite from his crew. So like nothing against Lucky Roo, nothing against Usopp's dad, but Ben Beckman. All right. So anyway, Kizaru is trying to shoot after Luffy, and Ben starts blocking his shots, and he's straight up like, "If you move a muscle, I'll kill you." What?
Just like, look, I wanted to say this man's name a bunch. All right, we're moving on.
Moving on.
Oh, great. Everybody
Listen,
good?
This is my arc of all of my husbands, man. I'm telling you, they're all here.
Molly, take us home.
Great, I would love to. What was I saying? Ben Beckman. Okay, great.
Beckman, got it.
So yeah, it's this another BDE moment where Shanks' crew shows up, and all of these people who we've seen are like these unstoppable forces are immediately getting like pushed back by Shanks' crew. So you're like immediately the tone shifts because you're like, oh wow. I mean, we know that Shanks and his crew are one of the 4 emperors, but it's like they were just these goofy guys we saw like 15 years ago or like 10 years ago or whatever. Not that long. I mean, it really wasn't that long ago. Maybe 7 or 9 years.
5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 weeks ago, a month ago.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, but it's like, it's like we know these guys, right? We know these guys, and it's just like, wow, you've guys gotten so much stronger since the last time we saw you.
At the same time, when we first met the crew, the thing that had us take them serious instead of just like, oh, these are drunkards at a bar, was Lucky Roo, like
straight up
Dragon
shooting
Ball
a man,
Z instant transmissioning up against a dude and shooting him in the head
while he's eating meat.
Yeah, because that's how Lucky Roo do. But the context that we got in terms of like
Lucky Roo, Lucky Do.
I was gonna say Ruby Dooby
with
Doo,
the-
but
in terms of the Yonko, we know that it's sort of a balance of power. And one of the things that we heard was like, God forbid if two of them ever decided to work together.
Mhm.
And like that would seriously put the power of the world government at risk. And so even though Whitebeard is gone,
Mhm.
Blackbeard is still kind of on the field, and he just made a big play and he still has his power. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on. But all of Whitebeard's forces are here.
Yeah.
And Shanks just rolled up with his crew.
Yeah.
It's the perfect opportunity for the world government to go, you know what? This is too much. This is going to keep escalating where it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's stop.
It's one of those things, right? I understand it's a plot. That I understand that everything that has happening and has happened is to progress a plot of a story that Oda is writing. But with all of the elements spread out before us, if like certain things hadn't happened, like it's like it's weird to think about, right? Like it's like I get we're doing a plot, I get this is the plot to this thing, but if this and that had happened, then I think they would have gotten away unscathed with Ace and it would have been fine, right? Like if Aka Inu had tried to shut up, I have a point here, but it's like if Aka Inu didn't try, like if Squire didn't believe Aka Inu, he wouldn't have stabbed Whitebeard. And like we already know from previous chapters that Shanks was doing everything in his power to prevent this war from happening. He made a point to like have drinks with Whitebeard and try to talk him out of, go find Ace. Like, don't take on Blackbeard. Blackbeard is the one that gave me these scars. Like, he's a big deal. There's something not right here. Don't do this. And then Whitebeard was also on the same page, but he was like, yeah, but now I'm not going to do that because you told me. Like, it's like I know it's sus, but you're a whippersnapper. You can't just be telling me what to do. And so they end up going through with this. But we realize in this moment that all of the Marines are shocked that Shanks is there. And it's not because they didn't predict him showing up. It's that we find out that he helps prevent Kaido, another emperor, from showing up. Like, it would have been just like an all-out, like, I don't know, is there like a super war? Like, is there something worse than a war?
Double mega war?
It would have been
out here writing a fix-it AU.
Dude,
Good triple dog war.
let me tell you. I see where things could have subtly changed in their favor.
It all starts with Luffy sticking his tongue to a flagpole that's frozen over.
Oh my god. No, but it's just like it's this crazy moment where it's like it's not that they are shocked that Shanks showed up just to show up. They were shocked because their last report they had on them was that specifically Shanks got in Kaido's way so that Kaido couldn't try to like take advantage of the situation. So then it would have been a 3 emperor war. And
We got it. We made it though.
And it's just like this crazy moment where you're like, everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, what's this guy doing here? So, also in this moment, Shanks, it just happens to be right by where Luffy's hat fell off. And he picks up the straw hat. Another incredible shot, another great shot. And it's like the last panel in that chapter, I think. And it's Shanks holding the hat and saying, I've come to stop the war. Or I put an end to the war or whatever. So yeah, they're all shocked that Shanks is there because they know he had a recent encounter with Kaido the day before, and they couldn't believe it ended so quickly. And also, how the heck did he get to Marineford so quickly? So Shanks sees Buggy and is like, "Hey, Buggy, can you give Luffy back the straw hat, please?" And Buggy's like, "Fuck you! Why would I ever? I hate you! You're the worst! You're the absolute worst! I hate you, my college roommate! I hate you! I would."
You know how many things I had to fuck up to be here?
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Immediately in the middle of this tirade, Shanks is like, "Oh, I wouldn't ask you to do this for free. I'll give you a treasure map." And immediately Buggy's like, "Oh yeah, oh really?
What like?
Oh my god,
Are we friends? What?
Oh,
Best friend?
This also
Sure.
continues the thing of Buggy failing upwards in the sense of people just see him mouthing off to one of the four emperors. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, he's so brave, he's so powerful.
Yeah, so
But then also on top of that, I love that everybody's reaction to Buggy is, oh hey Buggy.
yeah. Oh yeah, basically.
What's up, Bogart Q Clownington? How
Oh
we doing?
Buggy, what's up?
I don't know if I said it. There is a point where Buggy gets the attention of Whitebeard, and Whitebeard is like, "Who is this hoe? Wait, aren't you
Who's
that
this
like?
clown?"
Aren't you this? Yeah, aren't you that kid that was on Roger's ship?" And everyone's like, "Oh my god, Senpai noticed Buggy." And so this is that continuing moment of Buggy, like gives Law the hat. They get away. And then when he comes back, he's like, we're immediately dropped into this conversation where Buggy's like, "You lied to me? Why would you lie to me?" And Shanks is like, "Ha ha ha ha, it's good to see you, old friend." Like, Eddie, that was like a spur of the moment thing. I just needed you to do that for me. And he's like, "You motherfucker." And everyone's like, "Oh, he's standing up to an emperor. That's crazy. Wow." And they're all impressed by it.
So strong.
So strong, so brave. And I will finally finish this arc out for us, but it's this after that hilarious bit, Luffy gets away. Shanks is just straight up like, "Yo, this war is over. So everybody collect your wounded and go your separate ways. No skirmishes will happen." And then he makes a point to say, like, the Marines, like they aren't gonna take Ace and Whitebeard's bodies so that they can't like exploit their deaths to the whole world.
No,
Like
it was
on the
like we want to give them a proper burial, and that's
Mhm.
super cool.
Yeah, but he was like straight up like looking at Sengoku like, "I'll fight you on this. So if you wanna, if you want these receipts, like you're gonna have to come and get them." But he was just straight up like, "Yeah, you killed them, and everybody saw. Like you don't need to like put them on a spike and parade them around." You know what I mean? So, and with that, Marineford, the war of God, what do they call it? I don't even. I
The
just think of this.
Paramount War.
That's
Also,
can't be
Summit
real.
War.
Can't be real. This has always been Marineford to me. I didn't even know that they had a title for that until like semi recently. But yeah, that was Marineford.
It's a lot. This whole thing is like, this is why it's two parts. There's a lot of stuff happening all at once. Honestly, there's so much shenanigans that happen in this arc,
Mhm.
and thanks for sticking with the two-parter on this one because wow, there's a lot happening.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's like there's just I did my best to skim as much as possible, but there's just so many incredible moments that it's like you can't just skip a whole bit. Like the fact that Crocodile stands up for Luffy so much is like it's noteworthy. I can't not say it.
And then immediately doesn't.
Yeah.
That's Crocodile though. Like that's what you can
Yeah.
expect from the man.
That guy doesn't know what his brand is. He really needs to like reconsider.
Sandy. Sandy Brand.
Yeah, he needs to try a little harder, but I appreciate the effort.
Doesn't know what it means yet, but he has the words.
God. But yeah, any now that we're through the arc, is there anything that you guys like you desperately want to talk about, or is there anything that like felt really important to you, or is there a character that you guys really liked that you want to talk about?
I mean, all of Buggy's nonsense is just like this is the thing that really helped me come to terms of like, oh, this character is very funny. Like like Impel Down was like such a step in the right direction, but he just kept failing upwards, like to the point like in like rewatching this, rereading this. My Animal Crossing character is Marineford Buggy, and I don't know if I'll ever change it at this point, just because I see it and I'm just reminded of like all of that sweet goodness that Buggy has provided us in this particular arc.
Thank you, Bogart Q Clownington. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
That's what he did, though. He literally bogarted this war.
Bogart Q Clownington. Listen. I suspected that was going to be his name, and because of what he always does, he
Buggy D Clown. Oh.
Oh my god. Okay, no. No, that's not. Sorry, this is my AU. You can make your own somewhere else.
You can
OC,
fix
do
your
not
own
steal.
AU. This one's my fixed AU.
Please, yeah. You can go do that on your own time. This is not a collaboration. Yeah. Al, favorite part? Favorite part of this arc?
Jeez. I mean, it's favorite part of an arc that like rips your heart out of your body. God. I mean, the entire freezing scene and then Luffy crashing into it is like, this is classic One Piece. It's like, yeah, we're doing it. I like Oris Jr. I also really liked. Like, I like giant characters in general. But it was a sad time to be Oris Jr. Yeah, just that everything that was my favorite also quickly died. So
This arc too, we see I didn't mention it because it's like it's such a blip in a moment of like really important things happening, but we also see that it's like with Usopp when he meets the giants, it's like I can't believe these are real. I can't believe giants are real. And we see in this battle that the Marines actually have hired like 5, they're like their own like squadron of giants. And I mean, we did see it as well for CP9. We met in Robin's backstory, but it's like clearly it's not common knowledge about the Giants race, and so it was like a cool like little touch and go where it's like, well, we have Ors Jr. and it's like, yeah, well, we have 5 giants that all are like dressed to the nines in marine, whites, I guess. But yeah. Kdin, favorite part of this arc?
Ace's death. And I say that with my entire heart and my entire being. This is the stuff that I really like. And I gotta say it. It's like
Molly, your tea is done.
wow, the tea's boiling over, Molly. Molly, the tea.
The scene got so tense.
So I can tell you exactly why that particular thing is my favorite moment in this entire arc. It's because, and I want to say it in this way, there is a way narratively to give weight and credit to the death of a character. And all praise to Oda. This is a high bar to hit and a really difficult one to reach. But he did it so eloquently. And while you're upset that Ace is dead, you're never that mad because this is a huge point. This is a huge moment for Luffy, and this is all important to the story. It's not a shocking death in the sense of, we're going to kill this cool character. We're not going to George R.R. Martin half the cast because, oh, we're going to shock and awe you. This has weight and meaning and purpose. And it's the perfect kind of death for a character like Ace. And like having experienced a million different shows and a million different books and a million different comics and everything like that, where they'll just kill characters for fun or just to like have a reaction. It's like, well, we don't really know what to do with this character. The audience really likes them. So let's just fridge the character for now and come back later. And, it's like, oh, look, double Spider-Man saved regular normal Spider-Man's life by time traveling with Super Spider-Man, and then many Spider-Man is here. It's, the whole, there was no weight to any of that kind of stuff. And that stuff happens so much in comics. It happens so much in media where it's just like, oh, here's the fake out death, blah, 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 and, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Or there's the real death that's the actual just like, we really just don't know what to do with this anymore, and we're just going to kill it. But Ace's death is the epitome of, here we're going to give you a moment we're going to give you a great last moment with this character. It is going to last in your mind for quite some time. Will it hurt? Absolutely, because you like this character. Has this character even had that much screen time? No, not really. But you've gotten attached to this character in one way, shape, or form, and the character has moved the plot forward as much as they could. But now's the time to say goodbye to this character and have the legacy of this character burn in the world's memory far longer than the character would have, far longer than the character itself would have been relevant to the plot. This is the way to kill a character. If you're writing something, or if you're writing fan fiction, your own stuff, this is a emulatable moment. You don't have to do it point for point, but this is pristine. It is perfect because you feel bad. You feel bad because you lost a great character. Luffy lost his brother. But everything after that is just like, the point and the purpose of it all. Like, what's going to happen for Luffy. In your mind, this stuff. So it's great. It's perfect. It's fantastic. And there's a lot of, it's like, there's character deaths that are handled like this and well like this, but they're so few and far between that I really have to point out that Ace's death is probably my favorite part of this entire arc because it was so well handled. I knew he was going to die, but the way he died and in the moment in which he died was also super important. So Ace's death, that's my favorite part.
It informs a lot. And I love, I absolutely have to agree with you there. I also like the thing that it does of dealing with the lore in a sense of like, yes, everybody connected to Roger died with a smile on their face. And this is our first time experiencing that. But it's also tied to Ace expressing himself about how he wanted to live. And it keeps going back to this thread of people just wanting to survive. And that's so relatable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, even Kdin saying that, like, we haven't seen Ace. Like, we haven't been with Ace as long as we've been with Luffy. And still, like, this arc just, like, really hits home, like, no matter, like, how casual a fan you are. And it's crazy that he was able to do that so well because, it's like, why?
Striking moments. It's like, you don't need to have a lot of screen time to make the character shine. It's just, you need to have those moments. And Ace had a bunch of those. He had like 3 or 4 really big, like, short but big moments, and that's honestly more important than like being around, like having the character exist around for a long time. Having a character have 4 big moments that like send shockwaves through the rest of like the entire story beyond the death of the character, that's the good stuff. Like, that's more important than like, oh well, he lived and he survived another 200 or 300 episodes and we saw him like twice more. Who cares? I don't want that. I want it to mean something. Make me care, make it matter.
Well, yeah, it's the Paramount War, the Summit War. Like, this, everything up to this point meets here, and then all of the consequences are what happens after the fact. Like, this is a history-changing thing that Ace was like central to, and it shook the world.
Rustled the jimmies.
God damn it.
I'm here to rustle the jimmies of this war.
No, I'm looking at the buggy image. I don't like that.
I'm so happy I can finally post all of the different like redraws of that Shanks.
Yeah.
Buggy's my favorite one, but there's some that are so good. Like, there's a Don Krieg one for no reason. There's
like, remember this guy?
Yeah, hey, remember this guy?
Hey, remember this guy?
There's one where they edited the speech bubble where he's holding the straw hat and he just says, "This could have been an email."
Oh yeah, that's my favorite one.
Oh. Yeah, I think I posted that in spoiler chat when it was coming up.
That was the most that's the best way to sum up Marineford. This could have been an email. Well, that was Marineford. So now I'm gonna give
No, Molly.
No. I'm gonna give it to Kdin. I'm gonna give it to Kdin because it's Kdin's prediction time.
Welcome back. It's been a minute. We've had some time before this. And now that this is all kind of like out there in the open with all the shenanigans, we're caught up in Marineford. We're about to go into another whole like era of One Piece by going backwards in time and then very quickly shooting way ahead in time. There's some information that gets dropped in the next arc, and some stuff that comes up, and like something we addressed a little bit in the movie episode last episode.
Oh wait, we should say, because we haven't done this in a
This is
while.
the spoil. Yeah, no,
This
don't
is
worry.
spoilers.
This
These
is
are
spoiler
spoilers.
territory. So if you're not at least at Fishman Island, then just
Then you
kinda-
can get out.
Just turn
But
back
also
now.
please leave like, comment, and subscribe.
Follow us on
Yes.
Twitter.
We also love you. Don't leave too quickly. We love you.
Don't leave too quickly. Okay. Now that we've given a little bit of a buffer,
Mhm.
there's some stuff that's been, rattling around in my head, and I want to piece it all together. Like this is me live, theorizing in the moment. So there's some last little bits of information that happen here, and we've got some characters in play that are kind of loose and, not fully connected, but are gonna be connected because I'm right and I'm always gonna be right about this stuff. I just kind of feel like it. It's just gonna be more important than it needs to be. So let's start with somebody who everybody loves, Bogart Hugh Clownington. This was too big of a moment for him. He was on screen projecting so much bravado, like false bravado, but bravado nonetheless. The world now knows about Buggy the Clown. And he took credit for a lot of stuff that happened.
Mhm.
So now that Blackbeard is not a part of the Marines' inner circle, my guess is Buggy's replacing him. My guess is Buggy's gonna join up and basically get this whole it's like, well, I got my map. If I can just make the Marines not care about me, I'll just join the Marines and be one of their inner circle like Crocodile used to be, and I'll just take that spot. Don't worry about it. That's gonna be me. That's gonna be Buggy. And I think that that's important mostly because, again, if we're going off of the Buggy has to opposite Luffy so hard, then that's the only path for Buggy to take. Buggy has to go down this, I'm going to technically be working with the Marines pathway. And it's going to be important, and it's going to come back, and it's going to be big. And it's going to be annoying for me, just because, the moment it happens, I'm going to be like... I'm expecting, because I haven't seen, as part of this point, I haven't seen Buggy post time skip, and I'm waiting for it because it can't just be nothing. He went on TV and he's just like, I did all this. I'm the one who. He's got to be much bigger in some way in the world's eyes, even if they thought it was all bullshit. Even if they thought it was bullshit, even if the world knew that it wasn't Buggy, he still proclaimed it. So he's got to be, that new member, and he's got to be, he's going to be Buggy. He's going to be Buggy about it. Considering where I am in Fishman Island and the way that they keep talking about Jinbei and the way that they keep talking about how Jinbei's just no, Jinbei said hey, Neptune's just yo, what up? You were going to be okay if you came here and just said, yeah, we're the Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates, we know Jinbei. It's yeah, Jinbei sent word ahead, Had it gone down like that, things would have been fine. But this is the Straw Hats and nothing ever goes according to plan. In fact, there is no plan. And that's the best part about them, honestly. And because of the way that it's working like this, I was almost positive that we were going to get Jinbei to join at the end of this. He's going to show up and be hey, it's oh, cool, you guys are great, fantastic, way to go. I think it's not quite that. I think Jinbei's going to join way later down the line at this point. Based off of how this arc is going for me, he's not going to join until later. He's going to keep showing up. He's going to be hey, I'm here for a while. All right, peace out. Hey, I'm here for a while. I'm a peace out. Hey, I'm here again. I'm a peace out. But he's not going to join until way later. That said, I think this is the beginning of, I guess I'll call it the Straw Hat Armada. Luffy's going to start making moves and the Straw Hats are going to start making connections. So it's they're going to keep getting into situations where the enemies outnumber them. And just because they're really strong as the Straw Hat Pirates, that doesn't mean that it's not going to work out in the end because, it's like you can have 3 really strong grasshoppers, but if you have 1 billion ants, then, the ants are going to win. And I think that that's going to start coming into fruition because in this particular situation, you saw it, firsthand where you need the underlings, you need the armada, you need the fleet to be with you. So Luffy's going to be starting to do that. Maybe not intentionally, but unintentionally, because Luffy never does any of that planning like in any full way. So he's going to start making connections, and they're going to be like, okay, cool, we're going to join up with you, but we're not going to be a part of your crew. We're just going to be part of your we're going to spread the good word of the Straw Hats. We're going to be like allies anytime we're near each other. Plain and simple. You don't even have to say anything. You just be like, that guy's an asshole. And we'll be like, okay, cool, we'll jump him. And that'll be it. So he's going to start doing that. And the rest of the Straw Hats, of course, are going to do that. I have a feeling that every arc and saga is going to start the same way or thereabouts, which is, hey, Straw Hats get to New Island. Oh, Luffy went a different direction. And that's going to be, quite frankly, the most annoying thing for me, is that that's going to keep happening. And it's going to be, one, really great because Luffy's going to meet people that he shouldn't have met if he went with everybody else. And then, he's basically going to start bringing, I'm going to say this in heavy air quotes, peace to, the new world, and basically start making so much of a ruckus that no one can ignore him at this point. This is going to, we're going to go further and further and further up the chain very quickly. In fact, I think, we got a bit of a tease of it inside of this arc. They started talking about Big Mom, and I think that that's where we're going next. And if we're not going there next, then we're going there soon. And Big Mom absolutely has to be, what was her name? The pig in
oh yes, what was her name? I know who you're talking about from Thriller Bark.
Nami's
right,
friend.
Nami's friend from Thriller Bark. Because she said, it's like, oh, my mom will take care of it. Just give this and it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And it's like, okay, cool. That's not how that works. That's not how this works at all. That's not how any of this works. So her mom's got to be Big Mom because that's the only mom I've heard, literally in the words of mom in that way. And it's it's too coincidental. There's also talks about constantly making candy, blah, 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 and everything like that. So that's important somehow. I don't know how. It's super important though, because they're not going to just give us that piece of information in Fishman Island and not make that important. Candy. It's just no. We're in part of Big Mom's territory, and as long as we make all this candy and cakes and cookies and crap and send it to her, then we're fine. It's well, that's obviously super important. So eventually what's going to happen is something's going to, occur. They end up where Big Mom is. There's a fight. Something else happens. Luffy gets the territory. And Luffy's just going to start taking territory. And his bounty's going to just skyrocket. It's going to basically, at some point, it's just going to go from, I don't remember what it's at right now, 300 million, 500 million, something along those lines. It's going to shoot up to the billions very quickly. It's going to be almost instantaneously because he's going to do something so stupid and so incredible that it's going to happen immediately. The next thing that's going to happen is we're finally going to get, and this is the thing that we talked about last episode, we're finally going to get some Sanji backstory beyond, he was a chef and he was lost at sea. He was lost at sea for a purpose. It's got to be, now that we're here, now that we're, north, we're going to finally actually get some answers as to, what Sanji's crappy family situation is. And guess what? It's going to be a crappy family situation because he wouldn't have been floating in the ocean if it wasn't a crappy family situation. Will I feel bad for him? Absolutely not. Will I care? Probably also not. But, that's because it's Sanji. I'm sure he's going to be a shitheel about it the entire time because he's just that character. And that's...
Because he kicks with his feet.
Yep. I feel like this is where... Doflamingo is going to probably come in right around that area because I don't know. It's just we're not gonna get him right away. They've been building him up for such a long time. They're not just gonna him out of there. They're gonna sprinkle him in like Mrs. Dash until the right time to just bam, hit it really hard. And he's not gonna win. Like, Doflamingo's gonna like get laid out flat at the end of it, but he's too upper echelon. We actually haven't seen him fight too much, which basically means that he's probably like he doesn't think it's worth his time.
We also saw his like size differential. Like him against
He's huge.
Crocodile
He's
was
yoked.
like this weird like, oh, we always saw him like either by himself or like in the distance. So to finally
in shadow with a phone.
Oh, you're 10 feet tall. Oops.
In the distance.
And there's a lot of like little things that are probably going to happen. Mega ultra double spoilers, but this is the one that I'm absolutely 100% certain of, is that Sabo, Luffy's other brother, who's also not his brother, is absolutely going to get Ace's devil fruit, and 100% it's going to be because he was working with Luffy to do something in particular, which maybe even just be get the damn devil fruit. And it's like Luffy just like, nobody's going to have this but me. I'm going to make sure that nobody gets it. And then like, oh, Sabo's here. Okay, well, you can have it because you're my other brother. Not to be confused with the other mother, which is a Coraline thing. Don't get into that. That's different. He's a good brother, but he's kind of like weird and whatever. I'm not sure about Sabo right now, actually. I'm not 100% sold on Sabo and his character, but I'm sure he's, I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily quote unquote pirate. He might be like revolutionary, because just the way that it has to flow from spoiled rich kid leading sheltered life to revolutionary, that pipeline's pretty fast. I've experienced it myself several times. So yeah, just like that through line from like, oh yeah, no, I'm a rich kid and everything's totally fine. And you know what? Maybe actually society sucks. You know what? I'm going to be a revolutionary. That's pipeline's pretty fast. So I'm expecting that to happen. I don't know if he's going to call himself a pirate. I'm almost certain that he's going to call himself a revolutionary. He's going to look more steampunky and nerdy than ever before, which I guess good for him. Maybe he bought more stuff on Etsy. I mean, it supports small creators, I guess. But and this sucks because the way my brain's piping this out, and it's like they've been talking about Wano for like a million years now. We're never going to get there. It's going to take forever to get to Wano. There's so much stuff that has to happen before we get there. And then there's going to be payoff for the damn sword. Finally, there's going to be payoff for the damn sword that Zoro got back at Thriller Bark. Because there's going to be so much waiting. All this waiting, but no, that sword is gonna be stupid important. It's gonna be like, oh well, that was like the whole like Mr. President, Mr. Wano President. Everybody loves him. I can't believe you stole Mr. Wano President's sword, and then I don't know, he's gonna punch somebody or slash somebody or stab somebody because that's Zoro, and that's gonna get him in trouble. And then that's going to start, like, whatever the whole Wano arc is going to be. This is like, because, Luffy's going to not be there at the time. And nobody's going to be there to be just like, hey, Zoro, maybe you shouldn't actually do that. Nobody's going to be able to stop him because nobody's going to be around. It's going to be like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. And that's going to be, like, the kickoff of everything. So my whole concept is that Sabo's not going to be as important as I kind of wish he would be in the sense of like him taking on Ace's devil fruit. It's just going to be like, well, we got to give this to somebody. Otherwise the fans are going to be mad. Which fair. I mean, valid and fair. So he's going to get it and he's going to be important enough, but not like super mega double important. He's going to like peace out and go do his own thing afterwards. Maybe he hooked up with Luffy's dad. I don't know. Yeah, it's just maybe. I don't know.
Wait,
okay,
I'm sorry. Are you claiming that Sabo is still alive and he hooked up with Luffy's dad? Is that what you just said?
I think Dragon's got a new son.
Oh, okay. When you say hooked up, that is not what I heard. I heard hooked up.
Captain.
Sorry. I mean, obviously
Mollicent.
my ears were burning. I was like, what? What are we talking about?
I think that's it. I think I'm out of juice. I think I'm out of hype.
That's a lot of juice, man. For how long? How many episodes?
For a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple episodes. That's like well past ripe.
That's all I got. It's everything.
Man, well, you're gonna have to start reading. Oh, my body.
We did it.
We did it. Wow. All right. Well,
After a pregnant pause of not reacting.
thinking about it, I remembered that I'm still in charge here. Well, great. Thanks for the predictions, Kdin. Wow, that sure was something.
By the way, that's me. Like, I had like 3 or 4 bullet points written down. I'm just like this, and this, and it's just like, okay, brain go. That's what that sounds like inside of my head. Just like in case anybody's curious.
I was curious.
No
now
more
I know.
bullets.
I'll never tell.
Never tell.
There's also like characters that I haven't taken into consideration yet because they've been so far out of my like periphery. But like everybody who has a D in their name is going to be super freaking important. So
Yeah, they are.
you know, I don't know.
They got the D, huh? Anyway,
Molly.
what they do? Probably I don't know. Anyway,
In their name.
we can't talk about that now. We've almost been here for 3 hours, so we gotta wrap it up.
We gotta wrap it up.
And we're gonna wrap it up with our socials. So, Kdin, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitch at Kdin Jensen, KDinJenzen. And you can also find me on the Rooster Teeth website, and that's just Kdin. And also, you can hear me in Genshin Impact.
Yay!
Nice. And congrats.
Just throw it. Let me pick up that name you just dropped.
Just real quick.
Look,
Really, though, congratulations. That's really cool.
Congrats.
You have
That's
no
awesome.
idea how much. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in Genshin Impact. I was like, oh my god. Anyway, yes.
Epic gamer moment over here.
Serious epic gamer moment, like for real.
Amazing. Anyway, following that, Mark, where can the people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Mark B. Donica. You can also follow our Twitch at twitch.tv/Yayo Talk Show. We stream episodes, we stream games, and it's fun to watch the old episodes. Well, listen to the old episodes again and chat live with all of you. So make sure you head over, follow, subscribe, and we'll be there when you need us. That was a weird way to do that. I also did finger guns. Like in
Wow,
real
you
life.
did? I could hear
Your
it.
microphone?
I can hear it.
It was like I had Jefferson Davis from Into the Spider-Verse saying maybe you could throw some of your art. That was playing in my head as I said that.
Incredible. Wow. Al, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Al McClellan Jr. That's ALMCCLELLANDJR. Good luck.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Teflood, TEHFLOOD. You can find me on Tumblr at MollyFlood, Molly K Flood, depending on what you're looking for. And we have a Yayo Talk Show Tumblr. So if you're interested in One Piece fan art or memes or GIFs or anything like that, we update to our current episode of just fun stuff. So if you, like Kdin, can't, go through the tags yourself because you're still watching or reading One Piece,
Many spoilers.
we got you, fam. I go through it for you guys. Going along with how most arcs and sagas have ended, now that you've listened to the episode, you've joined our crew. With that comes the responsibility of telling your friends, leaving a comment, following us on Twitter and Twitch at Yayo Talk Show, and letting Kdin watch the show in one piece. So come aboard, and we'll see you next time on Yayo Talk Show.
Talking about One Piece.